just want to make sure that we're getting value for dollars spent. And so sometimes when I see the talk about the facilities, I have to laugh because you guys already have some things that I never had. And so I tend to look at it critically. That said, I would like to, I think that it's a good idea simply because if we don't get the state money, somebody else will.
That's
that
right.
money's already been allocated. So I'd rather see us get it than somebody else get it. So, and then looking at the cost delta of our share of 48 to 50 million for a renovation versus 60 million for a completely new building, it seems like a no-brainer. Now, that said, my biggest concern is cost overruns, and I think that issue's already been addressed, or at least as adequately as it can be until we actually get into the process. But, you know, assuming we've got a good handle on the costs, I'm hopeful that it looks like something that we should move forward on, but I'm still a little bit on the fence. That said, thank you for your time.
Sure.
Thank you.
Do you have any other comments before we move on? Yes, ma'am.
Runway violator.
What?
Another one-way violator. Chief's there.
Christy Peroni, 2 Hillview Road. Speaking to the last gentleman's point, there are going to be tours available. I'm not sure, maybe Sean, if you could speak to that, tours of the middle school and high school.
You probably know the times better than I do right now, though.
I could get the times for anyone who's interested, but that's not actually what I'm here about. I actually have a question regarding a letter to the editor in last week's transcript. I know it's been a lot of talk about the taxes and the impact to our seniors. And one of the gentlemen had asked about a tax deferment program for seniors, and I was wondering if anyone could speak to that.
I'll take it. I've been in contact with Representative Jones. His office is compiling a whole list of tax relief programs. I hope to have it in my hands in the near future. Once I get it, I will disseminate it. And I'm going so far as to say this, that whatever those programs are, I'm going to make myself available. I'm going to talk to the town administrator. I will have essentially office hours in this building going forward. And any of those programs, anyone wants to come down, find out what the programs are, apply for them. I'll assist them in applying for them. So hopefully I'm going to have those in the near future, and I will make that public to everyone. And I'm going to make myself available to anyone that wants to come down and take advantage of that, and I will assist them.
There are programs in place already for age and income eligible individuals where they can defer their tax liability, a portion of their tax liability, or their entire tax liability, up to a certain percentage of the assessed value of their home, which a few people in town are already taking advantage of. And it's worked out wonderfully well for a lot of people. And again, until the house is sold or somehow or other disposed of, then the town is made whole. Nobody's put out on the street. Gives them a relief, lets them age in place, and allows them to, again, financially support programs such as this. I mean, there are some people in our community who are truly financially strapped, whether they're on a fixed income or unemployed at this particular point, but for those on a fixed income and retired, there are programs that they would be eligible for, and still are eligible even now, even without this project, to defer their taxes at this particular point, up into a certain percentage of their assessed valuation. I think the assessors will probably be putting some more information out in regard to that. Sure, the Secondary School Building Committee and the advocacy group will be also. So people should really first of all take advantage of it anyway. But if this is a breaking point for them, and it's a program that they're eligible for, and it helps them, assist them to support this particular project, they really should avail themselves of it.
We also have a work program, which I think they get $500 off.
That's right, $500.
Is it 5 or 7?
500.
500, yeah. So in other words, they can apply to work at Town Hall or one of the other facilities for a period, so many hours, and they get $500 relief off of their taxes. That's above and beyond the program that Steve was alluding to. And if Sean is going to spend time here helping people out, I'll be right with him.
Thank you.
I think it's important to Mr. Chairman, that should this project fail and we have to undertake the renovation route, The financing of that may be a little bit different. The timing of it, the way that it's structured could be very different, where we would do a normal set of financing on a project where we kind of front-end load the costs, and then it decreases over a shorter period of time. It could actually end up costing people more money than the average $700 or $750 per household to renovate these facilities over this next 10 years. There's no doubt that, as Mr. Lava pointed out, that the accreditation is a huge issue, where we may be forced, if we're going to remain an accredited community from an educational standpoint, just because of the physical structures and the curriculum that we can't support, we have to address these issues, and it's going to cost us millions and millions of dollars. The cost of doing that in the short term, again, it's not going to be over 25 years, but in the short term, it's going to be far greater than spreading it out the way this proposal is going to make it. So I went to the middle school, it was the junior high then, and it's the same structure other than the modules that were put on there. When I got out of there in 1968, the building, as Mr. Messeri said, is served us well, and structurally is still okay. It's going to be utilized again. I mean, all we've done to that place really is that we added some modules. We put in a roof, we put in a boiler, and we put in a new gym floor when some kid went in there and left the water bubble going over a long weekend and buckled the floor. So it's served us well, but the high school, same thing. I was there for, I got out of there in 1972. Again, we've added, we've added modulars to it. We've replaced some of the windows that were vintage Florida and California style windows over the years to make it a little more efficient. But some of those classrooms, which were split back in the late 60s and early 70s, are still split classrooms today. It isn't designed well. It isn't. It doesn't work well for us. So getting back to the cost again, we're talking about $60 million, versus $50 million to put a Band-Aid on what we have. It's a lot to ask, but it really isn't when it comes to sharing the cost over 25 years. Anybody who's going to have any kids in the school system, we're going to share it over the 25 years. It minimizes the cost to each and every resident and household. It's, as another gentleman said, it's kind of a no-brainer. Why would I want to put a Band-Aid on for $50 million when I can get 2 new buildings and 2 new structures for $60?
Thank you.
Now's the time to do it.
Jeffrey?
Yes, I'm going to follow up what you were saying, Steve, because that's where my mindset is. We're looking at 2 schools, we're not looking at 1 school. And if you look around the region, you'll see that schools are being built at a higher cost than we have before us. If you think about it, this school, we're paying $54 million per school. And in Wilmington, they had one, I think it was 80-something million for their high school. So as far as almost a 2-for-1 scenario thought process, we're getting a good bang for our buck. And I know it's hard to say $108 million is a good bang, but we need, I honestly think that we need to divide our thought process into 2 separate schools. It's still going to be expensive no matter how we look at it, but the advantage is that we're saving money by doing 2 schools at one time. And unfortunately, that's what's making it sound like a big dollar amount. If we just did 1 school, I think we could easily pass a high school for $54 million. All right, but we're going to have 2 schools, and there's a benefit to doing that. So we are keeping our costs down.
Can I just pick up on that? And I don't want people out there saying, well, why are we just doing a high school now? It's $54 million, as Mr. Yule said. Well, MSBA is our partner. MSBA has told us that a high school is not worth putting 1 dime into it. They went through, they saw the condition of both buildings. They're the ones, in partner with Secondary School Building Committee, have chosen, along with us, this particular design and plan to rehab the middle school, build a brand-new high school with a shared core facility. That's the other aspect of this. We're getting a combined auditorium, combined gymnasium, combined cafeteria to be used by both schools, keeping the middle school separate from the high school. So MSBA has told us it's not worth to put 1 dime in. They won't give us 1 dime just to rehab or just build a new high school.
Thank you, Sean. Gentleman behind, oh, yeah, the glasses.
Philip Isaac here from 17 Sunset Avenue. I'm also an engineer, and I'm looking at the long-term cost of running the school. So we're going to have a big, fancy school with a lot of good facilities, which probably might cost more to run over time too. So the yearly operating cost may be higher. However, are we looking also at really putting in the best, like you said, technology in there right now that would be most energy efficient to keep those operating costs as low as possible for us in the future, not jump our budget?
I think if you talk to Wayne Hardacre, the superintendent of buildings and grounds, the high school, or the school department, he'll tell you, if he takes a look at what the cost is in terms of utilities and so forth in the Batchelder School now versus what it was before it was rehabbed, there's where you get your efficiencies, there's where you get your savings. Now, we're adding space, so there may be an incremental increase in cost, but overall, there'll be a savings.
And then as far as all the, the school is bigger, so are we going to have, more technology that we're putting in afterwards, or maintaining that, or, more chairs, more other stuff that over the years will have to be maintained?
This price tag comes with furnishings and fixtures and things like that, which also includes the technology aspect of it too, we receive reimbursement at that 51.49% from MSBA.
Will it be a LEED certified by any chance?
It's,
LEED.
the architect will tell you
LEED
that
gold
he
or-
is very hopeful to get it. He won't guarantee it, but the goal is to get there.
Any other new questions? Yes, sir.
Bob Atkinson again. Regarding the shared use, this is more of a social concern, if you will, i.e. how we make sure that the shared spaces, we don't have middle schoolers mixing with the high schoolers. I've had my own personal experience and issues with that, and some folks I work with went to Peabody when they were sharing a middle school and a high school, and basically, to be perfectly blunt, the gentleman I worked with told me that 5 or 6 upperclassmen would jump him and beat the living daylights out of him because he was a middle schooler. So how do we make sure that we keep those people separated so that the upperclassmen can't terrorize the little middle schoolers?
I think if you
Good
look
point.
at you have to look
I'll
at
take
the overall design of the building, and they've taken extreme care to maintain separation. Sean can elaborate on it if he wishes.
I'm going to tackle this from a couple of different points of view. One, currently my son's over at Austin. He's been there since the 6th grade. It's a combined middle school, high school.
Right.
I think it's been a tremendous benefit to have middle school shared with the high school. Actually, what happens over there, and I think it would happen here too, if they were to interact, the high schools act as mentors to the middle school. I think where you have your problem is in the middle school. I think by 9th grade, they all grow up, honestly. But in terms of the design of the building is such that you still have the structure in the middle school. That's where the middle school students are going to be located for their educational aspect. There'll still be the 6th grade academic academy on the 2nd floor of the middle school. In terms of the cafeteria space, there's actually 2 sides to it. There's one kitchen. Middle school will eat on one side, high school will eat on the other, and the lunch times will be different.
Okay,
Library, there'll be 2 separate sections.
okay.
The middle school section, in which my understanding is the middle schoolers don't go to the library unless there's staff with them. High school section will be in a different area.
So are these physically partitioned even though they share the building, or is it just a
This,
scheduling?
I wish, we should have had some boards here tonight. I think that's what we.
So, what Mr. Delaney is explaining to you, you see here, we got our core cooking facilities are in the middle, high schoolers are on this side, middle schools are on that side, they never interact.
Okay,
The same goes into the gymnasiums, locker rooms here on the high school side, locker rooms over on the other side for the middle school side.
okay.
So, you can see it's been planned out all the way through, unfortunately, without the right-sized boards here to walk you through every one of them. You can see
Yeah.
it's been well thought out, well planned,
And this
to
is
make
some-
sure we keep them separated.
Yeah.
If you go to investinnorthreading.com
Yeah.
or .org,